As civil society focuses more on the individual, individuals are changing as consumers and office workers. Then how should corporates change? There are some companies that are trying something different.
But we also have a responsibility as a tech industry to build trust in technology.
여러분, 마이크로소프트의 크레이그 샹크 글로벌 정책그룹 총괄부사장을 무대로 모시겠습니다. 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Thank you. I am thrilled to be here today at the SBSD Forum, Diversity, Democracy, Data, and Dream. Let's add a couple more Ds to describe others who have shared this stage today. Devoted, determined, distinguished. I am humbled to be here with such an inspiring group of speakers and artists. Let me start by thanking Cathy O'Neil. Her research and writing has changed my thinking about the role of data and emerging technologies in our world. As someone who works for a company exploring how data can improve lives, we need tough questions like those that Cathy raises about our impact on society. These are questions that demand our most thoughtful answers, answers we should all contribute to, not just those creating new technologies. We can't afford to look at this future with uncritical eyes. We live in a time of remarkable change and opportunity, sweeping disruption and uncertainty. We need to understand the opportunity and the uncertainty together. Over the past few years, how people work, create community, and learn about our world has been transformed. Industries have been reinvented, jobs redefined. New ways to treat disease are emerging every day. But what we have experienced so far is just a beginning. Suddenly, after decades of slow progress, rapid advances in artificial intelligence have delivered us to a point where computers will perceive, learn, reason, and act. Already, almost without us noticing it, AI has become an important part of our day-to-day lives. AI powers the apps that get us from place to place. Many of you may have gotten here today through Seoul's traffic, thanks to an AI application. AI helps companies predict what their customers might want to buy or hear or watch. AI even enables spam filters to detect junk email, things that we don't want, and maybe even malicious attacks. Now that computers recognize images and understand speech almost as well as people do, the real potential of AI to change our lives is just beginning to come into focus. Here's a short video that I hope will give you a sense for what I mean.
I'm Saqib Sheikh. I lost my sight when I was 7, and shortly after that I went to a school for the blind. And that's where I was introduced to talking computers, and that really opened up a whole new world of opportunities. I joined Microsoft 10 years ago as a software engineer. I love making things which improve people's lives. And one of the things I've always dreamt of since I was at university was this idea of something that could tell you at any moment what's going on around you.
I think it's a man jumping in the air doing a trick on a skateboard.
I teamed up with like-minded engineers to make an app which lets you know who and what is around you. It's based on top of the Microsoft Intelligence APIs, which makes it so much easier to make this kind of thing. The app runs on smartphones, but also on the pivot head smart glasses. When you're talking to a bigger group, sometimes you can talk and there's no response, and you think, is everyone listening really well, or are they half asleep? And you never know.
I see two faces, 40-year-old man with a beard looking surprised, 20-year-old woman looking happy.
The app can describe the general age and gender of the people around me and what their emotions are, which is incredible. One of the things that's most useful about the app is the ability to read out text.
Hello, good afternoon. Here's your menu.
Great, thank you. I can use the app on my phone to take a picture of the menu, and it's going to guide me on how to take that correct photo.
Move camera to the bottom right and away from the document.
And then it'll recognize the text. Read me the headings.
I see appetizers, salads, paninis, pizzas, pastas.
Years ago, this was science fiction. I never thought it would be something that you could actually do. But artificial intelligence is improving at an ever faster rate. And I'm really excited to see where we can take this. As engineers, we're always standing on the shoulders of giants, building on top of what went before. And in this case, we've taken years of research from Microsoft Research to pull this off.
I think it's a young girl throwing an orange frisbee in the park.
For me, it's about taking that far-off dream and building it one step at a time. I think this is just the beginning.
Today, we truly stand at the cusp of a new technology revolution that promises to transform every field of human endeavor at a pace and scale that is without precedent in human history. The benefits could be enormous. But it's also possible to look at these same technologies and wonder where they may take us. People are understandably concerned about what this means for their jobs, their information, their privacy. As we rely more and more on computers to make decisions, it raises important, difficult issues that touch on safety, privacy, equity, our very democratic institutions, and the value of all of our work as individuals. At Microsoft, we see AI with potential to create a future filled with greater opportunity for people and greater prosperity for society. With Microsoft's AI for Good initiative, we're investing in AI and in individuals to address some of the world's most pressing problems. You've just seen our friend Shakib in AI for Accessibility. That's just one example. In AI for Earth, where Microsoft has recently invested in projects in Norway for smart grids to make their use more efficient, in Singapore to help with smart climate control in buildings, and in Tasmania to support precision farming, where farmers are now saving more than 30% on irrigation costs. In AI for humanitarian action, we are partnering with nonprofits and humanitarian organizations to support disaster recovery, to address the needs of children, to protect displaced people, and to promote human rights. Really, it comes down to choices. As Carnegie Mellon historian Melvin Kranzberg pointed out 30 years ago, technology is neither good nor bad, nor can it ever be neutral. People can use technology to be more productive and effective in whatever they choose to do. What matters is what we choose to do with technology. But because technology has never been more powerful, the potential impact, positive or negative, has never been greater. to achieve the better future that we all dream of. These technologies and the companies that make them must earn people's trust. Trust that we're working not just to maximize profits, but to improve lives. Trust that we understand what it means to choose what we do with technology. And trust that we understand the limits of technology. At Microsoft, we believe trust begins when we listen to people and strive to learn from the customers we serve and the communities and society that we are part of. As Satya Nadella said when he became Microsoft's CEO, we need to transform our culture from know-it-all to learn-it-all. To become a company that listens, we have had to become a lot more humble than we once were. Indeed, our culture has changed a lot from the brash new company that set out 30 years ago to put a computer on every desk. Our mission today is to empower every person, every organization on the planet to achieve more. We're driven by creativity, curiosity, compassion to truly empower others. And that starts with listening and learning. Along the way, we've learned that when you change the world, you need to humbly recognize and anticipate that laws and regulations will change in response. We see this in privacy laws around the world developing as new technologies present new challenges. We've learned that being at the forefront of technology comes with important responsibilities, including a commitment to keep people safe and protect their privacy, to respect timeless values, and to support universal access to technology and the benefits and opportunities that it enables. To live up to these responsibilities, we recognize that we need to advocate for our customers, our employees, consumers on critical technology issues that affect their lives. For example, while we believe we should support our government views when we can, we have a responsibility to oppose them when we must. And this is why we have taken the United States government to court in litigation 4 separate times to protect our customers from unwarranted government surveillance. Surveillance initiated in the name of public safety, but at tension with individual privacy, transparency, and international law. We've also learned that technology is not the solution to every problem, and that we don't have all the answers. Today, it's no longer enough to simply push forward to see what a technology can do. We must ask what it should do and recognize that there are times when there are things it should not do. This is something that we at Microsoft have grappled with as it applies to facial recognition technology. We're concerned about the potential negative impacts on privacy and human rights, and high error rates for women and people of color. After much internal discussion, we decided to take a slower, more deliberate approach to this technology. And we've called on the US government to adopt regulations governing facial recognition software in the United States. These lessons are just a beginning. Of course, as important as they are to earning trust, we know we have a lot more to learn and a lot more listening to do. We'll face many more questions about the balance between what is possible and what is right as AI capabilities advance. Deciding where that balance lies is too important to be left to a single company or to an entire industry. Everyone who is affected should have a voice. And in truth, all of us will be affected. As we all strive to understand what role AI should play in our lives, we need to learn from all walks of life: policymakers, business leaders, media, advocates, academics, educators, citizens. We need conversations. Conversations about the ethical implications of AI. Conversations about how to protect privacy while encouraging innovation. about how to protect against bias and broaden access, and conversations about how government should regulate AI. These conversations are a crucial catalyst, but they're a beginning, not an end. Over time, we need concrete steps. We need strong research in both social science and data science. We need new industry standards, best practices, policies, regulations, and we need new ethical frameworks. It'll take courage, commitment, and cooperation that crosses borders and disciplines. It'll take respect for what each person brings and what each nation values. But this isn't the first time technology has been the catalyst for sweeping social change. In 1950, concerned about developing military technologies, the great American mathematician Norbert Wiener shared his solution for the risks technology can pose for mankind. Either the engineers must become poets, or the poets must become engineers. This, then, is why I am humbled to be here in this multidisciplinary group and so optimistic about the future. Standing here in this room full of people from all walks of life, all disciplines, all striving to live and think as both poets and engineers as we seek to understand what it means to be human in a time of profound change. All striving to make sure that the technology emerging from companies like Microsoft reflects the best of who we are, our creativity, our curiosity, and our compassion. As we work toward concrete steps, the starting point is here, in places like this. So I have a favor to ask all of you. To build a world where we do the right things with new technologies, please help us start the conversations. They can be as structured as research or formal consultations, or as informal as chatting with someone you meet here. Open a conversation. Explore not just what AI can do, but what it should do. These conversations will help us all ensure that technology contributes to our future rather than ruling over it. Here at this SBSD forum dedicated to the new common sense, you are the individuals changing the world. The fact that you are here to share your knowledge and your wisdom as we work together to balance what is possible with what is right is the very best reason that I can think of to be hopeful for our shared future. Thank you.
네, 열정적인 강연을 펼쳐주신 크레이그 샹크
Please
부사장님께 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
give Mr. Craig Shank a big hand for his passionate lecture.